There's a reason why the archaeological discoveries I'm about to share have been confined to academic journals for decades. The evidence is so revolutionary that it challenges fundamental assumptions about how monotheism developed, and some religious leaders prefer to keep this information away from ordinary believers. I'm Dr. Michael Harrison, and I believe everyone deserves access to the archaeological evidence that's reshaping our understanding of biblical history. What I'm about to show you has been hidden in scholarly publications for too long. The discovery at Kuntilat Ajrud sent shockwaves through the archaeological community. The inscriptions clearly refer to Yahweh and his Asherah. But many religious institutions have downplayed or ignored this evidence. Why? Because it reveals that the God of the Bible had a divine partner for centuries, a fact that challenges traditional monotheistic narratives. Similar inscriptions at Kurtadelo, thousands of female figurines in Israelite homes, and household shrines that included both Yahweh symbols and goddess imagery all point to the same reality. Polytheistic practices continued alongside developing monotheism far longer than anyone previously imagined. The pattern of suppression is troubling. When these discoveries were first published in archaeological journals, many religious institutions either ignored them or developed elaborate explanations that minimized their significance. Academic conferences began separating archaeological evidence from theological interpretation, creating artificial barriers that prevented full understanding. But here's what's most concerning. This evidence isn't being suppressed because it's unreliable. It's being downplayed because it reveals religion as a fundamentally human endeavor, not passive reception of divine revelation, but active construction of meaning systems that evolve to meet changing needs. The pattern extends beyond goddess worship. Archaeological evidence shows no material support for the Exodus narrative, no evidence of rapid conquest, and no traces of the unified kingdom described in biblical texts. Instead, we see gradual cultural transition within existing Canaanite settlements. This doesn't diminish the spiritual significance of these narratives. It reveals how communities create foundational stories that provide meaning, hope, and identity. But many religious leaders prefer to maintain literal interpretations rather than engage with this more sophisticated understanding. The archaeological record shows that Yahweh's evolution from minor storm deity to universal God involved competition, syncretism, and brilliant editorial work. The Hebrew Bible preserves evidence of this process while crafting a unified narrative that could adapt to changing circumstances. What's particularly troubling is how this information could actually strengthen faith rather than threaten it. Understanding how human communities actively wrestle with ultimate questions, how they adapt ancient insights to new circumstances, and how they create meaning systems that provide hope across generations. This reveals religion as a remarkable human achievement. The archaeological evidence shows that religious traditions are living, evolving systems rather than static doctrines. The fact that Yahweh once had a divine partner, that monotheism developed gradually, and that the Bible preserves competing traditions doesn't threaten modern faith. It reveals how religious communities have always adapted to changing circumstances. But this nuanced understanding requires intellectual courage and willingness to engage with complex evidence. Some religious leaders prefer simpler narratives that don't require their communities to wrestle with archaeological findings or historical complexity. The suppression has practical consequences. When archaeological evidence finally reaches popular awareness through documentaries or news articles, it's often sensationalized because people haven't been prepared for its implications. This creates unnecessary conflict between science and faith. I've seen this pattern repeatedly at academic conferences. Archaeologists present evidence that could deepen understanding of religious development, but religious leaders often aren't present to engage with the findings. This separation impoverishes both communities. The tragedy is that this research could actually strengthen religious communities by revealing the remarkable creativity and adaptability of their traditions. Understanding how religious systems evolve to meet changing needs while maintaining connections to transcendent meaning could help modern communities navigate contemporary challenges. The archaeological evidence shows that this adaptive capacity has been religion's strength throughout history. Rather than being threatened by new discoveries, religious communities could embrace them as evidence of their tradition's remarkable resilience and sophistication. This is why I wrote The Warrior God, to make this crucial evidence accessible to everyone. The archaeological discoveries are too important to remain confined to academic circles. Get your copy today through the link in the description.